Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here coming at you with the second video in the Platinum Trophy Guide for Elden Ring. Now like I said, the first video is kind of long and I do apologize for that, but it is more or less just going to be an introduction into giving you guys options on how you'd like to play through the game and giving you weapons and choices to do so. Now in the last video I did forget to start us off by getting us our first legendary incantation, so if you come to the Cathedral of Dragon Communion and do the Ritual of the Dragon, you can find here the Grail's Roar. This is actually one of the few legendary incantations that you will need to get from the dragons. Actually, it's the only one you'll need to get from the dragons. But as well, if you want to grab these Rotten Breath while we're here, as that is a really good thing to have. So in the last video, we basically stopped around just getting things and stuff like that. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go from Aghill Lake North and head all the way down and around and grab a couple of graces. I'm also going to fight the boss located right here and unlock the sorcerer, who will be a part of a small questline in which you would need to get a legendary sorcery from her. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to meet you right around here is where the next grace is going to be. So I'm going to see y'all when that is all said and done, so we can progress from there. Alright, now as you guys can see, I've already unlocked that, and I've gotten this very specific grace, and from here we're going to be heading south all the way down to Castle Morne, which is where we're going to get our next trophy and our next legendary armament. And then there's also another thing that we're going to grab right here, so we'll mark that for later. So for now, I'm just going to make the trip all the way to Castle Morne and speed it up to save you guys the trouble, and see you then. Alright, now from here we're basically just going to be running through, as I'm just going to leave the exploration and side stuff up to you guys at your own pace, and just going to be showing you exactly everything that you need for Platinum now that you have builds and options, and then from there it's up to you, you know? So we're basically just going to be running a very specific path. If you want to explore this area and get some +2 smithing stones, you can. But you can also buy them now, so if you just want to go and farm souls, runes, and all that, then you can. But if you just follow the path I take, it is the path of least resistance. And along the way you can also kind of get some souls, runes, and all that, just from enemies fighting, which is pretty cool. As you'll see, this area is in a state of civil war of sorts. If you would like to do the questline, we did pass the starting point of it when we first get across the bridge, you'll see the chick sitting on the side of the road. If you go and talk to her, she'll ask that you give a letter to her father, which is right over there off to our left, which you can drop down right there by those barrels. But if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can just follow this exact, very specific path that I am taking. And that will get you to the next grace. We're going to drop down right here because this will give us a stone sword key, which you will need plenty of those in the future. If you want to grab an item at the top of that tower, you can, but if you are just simply trying to go through, you jump down to the right over here, or left, I'm sorry, and then you can roll down here, and then come and jump over here, and follow this very specific path down. Be careful when you are descending right here, as you can fall and die, and have to remake the trip all the way here. Get a smithing stone 1. Just be gentle, and you'll be fine. And then you can roll outside here. And if you need to farm rune arcs, which will be used later on once you have a great rune, then you can come to this very specific grace and fight these rats. They are pretty common at dropping them, so there's that. But you can come over here and drop off this little wooden bridge. These jellyfish are neutral and won't attack you. But now we can come over to fight the boss, the Leonine Misbegotten. He's a very aggro boss. But you can also kind of stagger him. And just like that, the boss is done. And when you defeat him, you'll get a trophy, and then you will get a legendary armament called the Grafted Blade Greatsword, which is involved in the questline here at Morne Castle. And just like that, we're done. So now, what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to go to Castle Ward Tunnel and get our next trophy. Alright, and from here you can actually summon a NPC called Sorcerer Rogier. I don't know how you pronounce it entirely, but I'd recommend this as he can pull aggro for this boss fight. So we'll just wait till he's summoned in before we enter. Now for most boss fights, if there's cutscenes and stuff, I'm just going to be skipping them. We have Margit, the Fell Omen. We're already in phase 2, which is pretty good. And as you can see, having a person to grab aggro and bleed definitely makes for a heavy combo. And defeating Margit will get you another trophy, and you will get your first talisman pouch, will allow you to equip a second talisman. And from here we can grab our next couple of graces. One right here, and then another one just up the way at Stormveil Castle. As you can see just right here. Now, I'm going to basically just be trying to run through most of the castle, so yeah. Alright, so from here, You're gonna have this guy who will want to come and talk to you.
Come on. What's a deal? Why is it always me?
So we're just going to deal with him, get his bell bearing, and then follow this path around and down, and you can find, once again, another quick grace. Just over this way. You'll also be attacked by a flying eagle enemy. Very interesting. And you will also see the spawn area of the game just over that way to our left. So coming up the path here, this enemy will blow his horn if he happens to see you. Luckily, he hasn't. All that really does is just cause these enemies to aggro us a little faster. But coming in here, you can run up the steps. And just follow this very specific path around. You'll have to loop back around over this way. And in this door is where we have to go. You will be ambushed by a knight just to our left here. He hits pretty hard, so do be careful of that. And then we can be done. Grab the key, and if you want to grab this chest, by all means, go ahead. We'll see what's inside real quick. For some reason, there wasn't a little animation to lock the door behind us, which is normally what's supposed to happen. But if you follow this path here, you can drop down, open up this door, and head up the ladder. Head up the ladder. From here, you're going to take a left, and there's going to be an enemy ready to try and get you, as you can see right there. Kind of annoying, as trying to dodge it can just sometimes happen, sometimes not, as you're going through the area. But just following the path that I take will lead to the next grace. We're just going to run past this big knight boy as he's not in our way. And the grace is found just here on the left. Alright, so from here, we're just going to make our way down and around past these barrel throwing eagles. And head down. These eagles are very persistent, so do be careful. We'll drop down here, and here's where you can actually find Roger. You can talk to him.
Ah, the pleasure's mine. I'm looking for when I'm not hot-foot enough about this place. Not exactly.
You can tell him that you're here to defeat Godrick.
Well, I'm Ton, but on still, I'm privy. Would you care to learn as a fellow Ton?
You can learn a couple skills from him, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. He will eventually move to the Roundtable Hold. So there's that. So you'll follow this right-hand path around. I'm just going to make sure I'm topped off at all times. We'll run past any enemies that we see are in our way. We'll come through here, take a right. If I can get a moment, I'll equip my lantern. Now in this room you can actually find over here in this chest a troll item, I would call it, as using this allows you to turn into random objects found in the environment and can like hide from people and things, so there is that. But coming down here you'll find that there's actually a grafted scion. We're just going to be ignoring it and running straight. In here we'll find a shortcut that leads back up to the last grace that we rested at, which is just right there. So from here we can now head to the next big fight, which is Godrick. Might as well grab this item and then head out to the left. Do be careful in this next area, as there's quite a few enemies who are going to be using flaming I don't even know what to call them. They're flaming mounted like turrets. But if you come over here and just run through, you can find over here to our left another site of grace. And then from here we can actually just head the path that I take. Like I said, you can basically just run through. If you want to explore, you can by all means. We'll grab whatever key items if we need them. Do be careful of the giant up here though. There is going to be one more grace that we will grab, which will just be right up through those doors, so I'm going to skip to when I am there. It'll be on the right side. Alright, so if you are having trouble with this fight and your summons aren't working as much, there is an NPC you can find. I'll show you right now. If you head back the way you came, and just to the right of where we found that golden seed, there's an NPC character that you can talk to and summon and be able to use for this fight with Godrick. So I'm going to quickly do that and then get them before I do this fight. So I'm going to see you once we're back here. Alright, now as you can see we have the person to help us, and we're now going to challenge Godrick. He has a couple of very easy tell attacks that he likes to use. But the whole thing about having summon or Ashes of War is that you have things that can grab aggro from you. About halfway, he will have this little cutscene. But we've been kind of wailing on him. And just like that, we will have defeated Godrick the Grafted. This will get you your first silver trophy, as he's a shard bearer, and this will also get you your first great rune. Which is pretty cool. You also get the Remembrance of Godrick, which will allow you to go back to the Roundtable Hold and finally go through the door just to the right of where you spawn. But from here, I'm going to show you actually the next thing that you might want to do, which involves crossing this really long bridge to get to this tower right here. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the Rampart Tower. Alright, so from here, you're actually just going to take the non-normal path, or use the shortcut, and we're going to head back down to that big area I was telling you about that has a lot of enemies and stuff, and we're actually going to be running through that. Now, you can die in this area quite easily from all the arrows and stuff, so do be careful of that. But doing so will get you another Site of Grace, and then you will be able to go to the tower. So when you come outside, you're immediately going to go to the right instead of the left. Grab these golden runes. Just going to kill the enemy who might be the most trouble for us. But now we're going to be going through this area, and like I said, this area is quite dangerous as you have all of these arrows and stuff getting shot at you. So just be careful of that. Once you get here, you should be okay. Immediately take a hard left into this little area. There's going to be a lion who will aggro onto you if you get too close to him, as you can see right there. But coming into here, we can find our Site of Grace. Alright, so from here, you're basically just going to make a dead sprint to the other end of this bridge. Don't worry about the enemies here, as there's not really much you can do right now. I mean, you can try and take out the one at the very end if you want to, by quitting out and then spawning next to them. But you're basically just going to be trying to avoid their attacks and just run through the legs. You should be able to dodge the first one, and the second one should not even touch you. I do say that, and then of course it happens. The only issue is just this last one, who is a bow and arrow user. But once you run past him, you'll see the portal. Just examine it, and you'll be teleported across the bridge. As you'll see, from here you can now actually open this door and finally head up. The main thing about these towers is these are how you actually activate the great runes that you get from the shard bearers, and they each have a unique effect of when you obtain them. As Godrick's, what it will do is it basically will just increase most of your base stats, which is pretty cool. Take the really long elevator up. There are going to be specific grand towers that we're just going to either go to just because, or not at all. As I think when I first got the platinum, I only used Godrick's rune, as it's really good. To activate a great rune, you do need to have a rune arc, which, like I said, you can farm the rats at Morne Castle from that last grace. And they drop them not consistently, but at least decently enough. So when you restore the power of the Great Rune, you will also receive a trophy for doing so, as you'll see, Godrick's Great Rune. And then from here, we're actually going to head back to the Roundtable just for a moment to do some stuff. You'll see to my right, the door is open. You can talk to this lady.
Are you trying to let's grey anchor until it the tragic across far but the so brave seek to become little.
You'll then interact the two fingers. And what you can do with this lady is you can come on. You can purchase boss armor, and then you can also, if you happen to get a remembrance from boss, use that and can then get unique cool items from the boss itself. As you can see here, we have his axe, or we could make the dragon. I'm gonna do the dragon this time. There are some bosses when you defeat you won't get any anything from them.
Pleasure, thank goodness. I'm still it's not easy. I don't believe. If I do, I suppose I'll ask Matt certainly. I know I can tell.
I forgot to do this while I was here last time.
Now, those are of a challenge. Find them well. Are you a who'd step absurd? I refuse to. I don't.
But also, while we're here, we're going to continue Fia's questline.
If I suppose I'll ask Matt.
So eventually, after you defeat that one guy and come here and talk to Fia and be hugged, she will eventually give you a weathered dagger, and that she wants you to give to somebody. And what you'll do is you'll come over here. You will then give it to... Whoops, wrong way. You will give it to D.
What is it? The map indicate will lead you to... Well, what? How did you get your... Well, I know very well. Why don't I return it to the... Good work bringing this to me.
So what you can do is you can actually just rest at the table, and he should have disappeared by now. So what you will do is you will come all the way over here, and you'll see that there is now this back door, and you will see that Fia is next to him. You can get his whole armor set, which is a really good armor set.
The stolen Hallobrand, and now, though I ask, I am Harkrown. We live in what right? Our Lord.
Fia will leave through some weird ghost teleportation. Kind of crazy. As you can see though, Rodrika has found her spot here at the spirit summoning, or spirit tuning. Also, while we're here, you can come over here, and you can find Rogier.
I apologize, sir.
You can tell him that you've defeated Godrick,
Well done.
and he will
Something
give
to
you
look-
a +8 rapier.
As you might have no need to be. D is an old friend. We found ourselves journeying together, but our paths, though that's hot.
And then the last thing, as always, if you happen to have any bell bearings, you can bring them over to this lady here and give them to her. I'm not entirely sure what... Who is it? Come on. Gostock spell bearing? Ah, I see. He sells the cestus. Ah, that's cool. But like always, if you need to, you can buy whatever items that you need. I am going to buy just 4, and then upgrade my katana before we continue on. We're going to be heading back to the Weeping Peninsula to finish up what I said we were going to do, as this will allow us to get our first legendary summon, or Ash of War. So from here, you're basically just going to come to this very Castle Morne Rampart, and then you're going to just follow the path around and head up to this specific church, which will get us a will get us another sacred tier, and then we can progress from there. Alright, so I'm basically just going to be heading there from here, so I'll see you once I make it to the very specific church. So yeah, trying to save as much time as I can while still showing you guys where you have to go, as to make the videos shorter and less time consuming for you guys. So yeah, I'll see you once we're there. Alright, so as you can see, we're here at the Church of Pilgrimage. So from here, there's actually two things I'd recommend, or one thing I'd recommend doing, and then the other thing is what we're going to be actually doing. So if you head down this path, you'll see you can head to this minor Erd tree. And there's going to be a boss here that you want to fight. The boss is a repeating boss that can be found almost at all of the Erd trees, or minor Erd trees. But what we're here for is specifically this little tomb right here. But the reason why I say that you want to fight that Erd tree is every single one of those little Erd tree bosses that you fight gives you a different flask of Wondrous Physic that you can combine. One of them being a bubble effect that when you use, it will allow it so the next hit that would count as damage will instead be absorbed by the bubble. But while we're here, we're going to go through and solve the thing and then fight the boss. Upon killing the boss, you'll get your first legendary Ashen remains or summons to use, which if you can use it, I recommend doing so, as it'll be really good for right now. So I'm going to skip to when we do that. Now, as you'll see, we have gotten Lutel the Headless. Pretty easy boss. If you have the Meteoric Blade, you can use the Gravitas weapon art or unique skill, and that'll do a lot of damage to the boss and allow you to maybe 2 or 3 shot the boss, depending of course. But from here, we're gonna go fight the little Erd Tree mini boss and get that physic I was talking about, and then basically be done with the Weeping Peninsula. Alright, now as you can see, we have defeated it, and we have gotten the Opaline Bubble Tier, which is the one that we wanted. Now, sadly, we do not have the required FP cost to use Lutel, as he is 104, and we only have 77. So we'll probably need to farm and get a couple of levels just to do that. But from here, basically, now what we can do is we're going to be doing setup for the next part, which will be Redmane Castle. So from here, we can just head to the Impassable Gate Bridge. Alright, so as you'll notice now, the portal is active. It only becomes active once you use the Grand Lift of Dectus and make it to the Altus Plateau, which will then start the festival for Radahn. Now, once you get spawned into Redmane Castle, there's only going to be 2 enemies and their lions just behind us, but you don't have to fight them just yet. You can actually come over to here, and we're going to grab this Grace. And this is basically where we're going to end this video for today. Like I said, trying to make these shorter and more just info related about what you need to do and everything like that, and showing you how to go through things. And then all of the side stuff and everything like that, it'll more or less just be up to you guys on what you'd like to do. As what we'll probably do next at the start of the video will be, we'll do Carry a Manor and start that, as that is related to Redmane Castle, and just gotta wait and see. So I'll see you guys in the next video.